Welcome to part 7 of Church Live Streaming, the Essential Guide. We'll be talking about options to make your streaming easier, like external controllers and automated functions to control everything from scene changes, media playback, animated transitions, and even lighting settings for mood changes. We'll also talk about alternatives to XSplit, OBS, that are available, dedicated hardware devices called streaming appliances, and cloud-based subscription services to help you produce multi-camera streams from your iPhone. We'll quickly cover some of the advantages and disadvantages so you can decide if these things are for you or not. Hey, if you've not seen our previous parts, let me encourage you to go back part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Work your way through all the material up to this point. We cover a lot of ground and we highlight a lot of important information. Otherwise, let's continue. So next, I want to show you some weird things. So you can plug into your computer little USB controller devices, and Elgato makes these, and they're really cool. I've got the Stream Deck. I got there, and I can program all sorts of different buttons, and I actually have, like if I go here for my stream, I have all these different buttons programming pages and pages of buttons, and I can trigger animations and stuff to make people forget how bad of a player I am. I can entertain them with media, and they think, oh wow, what a great stream, and actually all they've done is watch me die over and over and over again for like 2 or 3 hours. But for all the fun stuff, they think that's cool. Well, you can trigger anything with that, and Elgato makes these things like we talked about lighting before, and if you have a lot of money, this is a way you can go for a desktop situation where you're just worried about yourself. I wouldn't try to light a big group with this, but just to show you some of the capabilities of how streaming and gaming have kind of merged to give you a smorgasbord of features. These little devices allow you to control scene switches and changes, and they even allow you to control these lighting panels. Like these are little on stand, they clip onto your desk like you can see in the picture, and you can control how bright they are, and just push a button and go to different scene lighting, right? And the other thing you can do with those is you can trigger just complete different look and feel scenes. So you notice I've got these little borders that I just made. Those are just little overlays around our pictures. That's to make it look slightly more professional. When I stream, I think I use for example, when I go live, I've got this. And I usually use a green screen, and my gameplay is in that big black window there, and all of my background goes away, and you can see the game right underneath me, like you see on a lot of streams. And I can go to whatever shot I want, but it's all basically I'm just clicking a button, and I can push a button on this device, and it changes them for me. So I don't have to take my hands off the mouse. I can keep doing what I'm doing and reach down with my hand and push a button. So you basically, this is just exactly like what you get when you go into a broadcast television studio. They have switcher controllers that do all this stuff, and you push a button and you go to the 3-up. You push a button and you go to the 2-up. You push a button and you go, it's all done with a button push. So you guys can do that, and it's really easy to do. It's like a push of a button. It takes a little bit to set up your templates like this, and these aren't pretty, and I could have gotten fancy, but I really wanted to just show you the main point of what is possible with that, and that you can control that stuff with these. And I can turn that off, and this blue thing behind is actually a full screen share of an NDI, my wife's iPad Pro. So if I wanted to show that, I can show her iPad Pro. Right now, though, it's downstairs, and she's binge watching some TV show, so you don't get to see that in action, but you could use that for all sorts of things too. So I don't know let's see, what do we got here? Oh, I just dumped Chris' layout of I'll bring it back, Chris. Don't worry. Okay, so that thing that I mentioned that I showed you is about $150. They have a small one that's cheaper. They have a big one that's quite a bit more, and then they have a massive one that you can use. I think Elon Musk bought a few of those to launch SpaceX Starships, and he's testing those right now during the pressure testing. And then they have the iPhone. There's touch apps that emulate being these sorts of devices. So if you can't spring for $150 or $200 for a Stream Deck, you can run an app on your phone for a few bucks and do the same thing. So you can add a lot of automated one-click, one-step. It's a little harder to look down here and find the thing, right, on the interface, and it's just got a name, whereas these buttons actually can be customized with a photo of what you're going to get when you click on it. Really a cool thing, and I thought you guys would want to know about that. So that is just a plug into your computer. It's a physical or even a virtual device, and that basically then is our video input and screen input and computer input and laptop input device chain. Notice you always want to go hardwired wherever you can, and you might need capture cards for certain devices, things like that. There's our audio input, and then we've already talked about our output leg. And now everything that I showed you at the very beginning of the stream, you understand what it all means. Congratulations. You now know how to get yourself in serious trouble. The only thing I didn't really talk about here is you're going to need patch cables and adapters, and you're going to need mic stands. And I've got numbers here because when I did a live stream on a big festival, that was some of the stuff that I needed. And it takes 4 or 5 hours to make your overlays and things like that you're going to use. And I would make them keeping in mind what you're going to need over and over and over again, so you're not every week having to reinvent that wheel. And you can save all these setups in XSplit so that you just call up. Like normally, I've got my whole streaming set up, and it's a whole different layout. It includes things like if my daughter wants to stream with me, I can have a split screen where she's on top and I'm on the bottom, and you see both of our gameplay and our webcams in real time, and it's all hers is brought across the network, and then it pushes all out to the whole stream. So you could do the same thing with your stuff too. And I just save that, and then when I'm done with this, I'm going to save this, and I'll load up my stream, and I'll get on, I'll kill mechs, and my 3 followers will be thrilled, right? So it's all pretty simple. What else? Anything else here? Yeah. Oh, so I wanted to talk about some other options real quickly, and I want Miguel to talk about XSplit, and I don't know if we've got questions coming in or not, so we'll cross that bridge in a minute. But there are other options we haven't talked about. One of those options is the Sling Studio. Now, Sling Studio is what's known as a streaming appliance. It's an all-in-one box that basically does everything, but you can quickly see that it's not really all-in-one, because you have to add cameras and you have to add ingest conversion or extensions, and you have to add external storage, and you have to add some sort of display with either an iPad or a Mac or something like that in order to control it. However, that being said, they have a really good quality solution here, and it works really well. I don't think it's as flexible. Miguel, you can probably talk about this. It's not as flexible as XSplit is and varied, but it's very turnkey, cooked and done. So there's less to learn because there's less you can do, but what it does pretty well. I guess there are some people that have some problems with it, and so it's not perfect either. Nothing's really perfect. But it's an option that's out there. Now, you're going to spend a lot more money on it. That's one of the downfalls, is by the time you get any of the cameras that it really works with that are decent, and all of the ingest links and stuff, you're going to be in the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 range by the time you kit it out with all the cameras that you might want, stuff like that. But just it by itself is what, $1,000 or $1,500 or something like that. And then you need other stuff with it. So, but still, it's something you can look at and you can say, well, yeah, that's perfect for what we need, or no, it's not. Or you might want to start with something, that's more software. The thing about this, I'm going to go back here. The thing about the Sling Studio and the one we're going to look at is they are hardware baked, and they don't do a lot of feature additional enhancements. So kind of what it is what it does, and the upgrades usually fix things that don't work very well. They sometimes will add a little bit of extra functionality. Another option, which is about half the price, is the ATEM Mini Pro. This is from Blackmagic Designs. The advantage to this is it's half the price, and it is really cool. It's great. But again, it's got those same problems. By the time you get everything going, you're going to be having a lot of money spent. Those two little cameras they're showing there that they recommend, of course, are the Pocket Blackmagic Pocket Pocket Cinema cameras. And they're about $1,200 or so a piece. The disadvantage there, which we talked about earlier, was that you can't put a autofocus system in front of that sensor on those bodies. They're not autofocus. I would recommend, if you're going to go to a higher end camera body, go to something with good autofocus, face detect at least, or eye detect. But it's a nice little switching device. It basically gives you a hardware XSplit. I've never really wanted to buy one because I have XSplit. So I'm not really sure. It's simple, and if you didn't want to dedicate your computer when you're streaming, it looks like you still kind of have to in order to do the stuff you want to do. So it's great for what it is. Definitely worth looking at. I think you're probably going to end up with XSplit anyway. And then there's this, excuse me, there's like these online little iPhone and iOS driven systems that people have where you pay $39 a month, and they basically let you do one camera and your iPhone, and you can put it on a gimbal and make your church stream on an iPhone. And the iPhone camera, again, is not that terrible, but I don't know. That seems kind of hinky. If you're paying $75 a month, for heaven's sakes, get yourself a good camera and trick out your system and have a booming XSplit stream. So that doesn't really appeal to me. And then JamKazam is something that's interesting, but I don't think it's really feasible for most people. And it allows, I thought it'd be fun to do a test on this. This is not a streaming platform per se at all. It is a real-time collaborative performance platform. So you can have up to 4 musicians if they have a high-speed internet access with low latency and low latency interface and a fast enough computer with low latency DAW setup. They can all hear and see each other in real time with only about sub 20 millisecond delay, and they can play and jam together. And they all hear each other, and they can all play. And you could conceivably capture that if you had a fast enough computer and bring that in as your worship band doing live worship. I don't know if you can do it, though, because everybody I've talked to so far said they either haven't been able to get it to work or they don't have the bandwidth to make it work. So I think it's a product whose time hasn't quite come. There's another one called Infinite Audio or Audio Forever or something like that only works on iOS devices, and they're promising the same sort of thing with 4 players. And they're doing a Kickstarter where they want a lifetime license for $200, but I'm on Windows, so who cares, right? So, and notice real quickly, my video right now looks pretty darn good, and I'm on a $50, $70 webcam. So if the lighting is good, you can look good on a stream. But lighting is everything. Hey, that's it for part 7. In our next section, we'll talk about XSplit more specifically and a cool product they have called VCam that you're really going to like. We'll talk about routing sound correctly for live streams, sound mixing tips for mixing a full live band, using your iPhone as an NDI source. We'll kind of demo that. And we'll talk about stingers, transitions, automation, some more. Don't miss this section. It's really cool too. If you haven't already, remember to click the subscribe and notify bell, and please share this with someone who could benefit from it. See you soon.